What is up? What is up, everybody? I finally made it back. I see y'all discussing me in the chat. Y'all are the reason I didn't go live on time. I've been sitting here watching y'all go back and forth, wondering if I'm going to show up. I got to keep y'all guessing about the time. Anyway, I guess y'all noticed the change in thumbnail and change in titles. It was last minute. Sorry. Hope nobody I hope nobody minds, but I run across this video of Liz Wheeler earlier today, and it is a brand new video of hers, and yeah, she was really going deep into the Fed slop, and she was really trying to convince everybody that we're all so wrong. So when I saw it, I thought, yeah, I've got to cover that one. So I know most of y'all in here probably would never see it, and definitely probably wouldn't pay that much attention to it. But there are people out there that actually see that stuff. So for others that might see this video in the future, I figured it would be worthwhile to cover and point out the issues, I guess we could say. And if nothing else, it'll make for some good entertainment for me and y'all guys. So, and it gives us an excuse to just get in here and hang out too. So, hopefully hopefully everybody won't mind the change, and we'll try to have a good time anyway. I think we will. I know I enjoyed thoroughly watching the bit I watched earlier. It's just hilarious to me. This is literally this is the female version of Gary Melton. So, oh yeah, and I got a little announcement to make. I know y'all probably heard me talking about Gary from Paramount Tactical, how he had offered for me to come on his show so we could discuss the situation. And then I couldn't get a hold of him. He wasn't getting back a hold of me, and I was starting to wonder. But hey, he finally reached out to me today, sent me his email, told me to email him, said we'd make it happen. So there you go. Here in the very near future, I will be going on with Gary at Paramount Tactical, and we're going to have us a discussion. Hopefully, a very nice, informative, civil discussion, but a discussion anyway. So I'm tickled with that. So I was starting to worry, but finally got a hold of him, got that in motion. So I'll definitely keep y'all posted. So I'll probably need a few cheerleaders in the chat. All right, I'm gonna bring this thing in here, and we're gonna have us a. Yeah, me too. I did too, but I kind of lost respect for him too, to be honest with you. But I still think it'd be worth it to go on with him and have a conversation. You never know, I might change his mind. I doubt it in a way, but it's good for other people to hear the conversation. I may not change his mind, but you never know who might be listening. So that's the main thing. It's more about the audience than it is about me and him anyway. All right, let me get this thing pulled up here. All right, and let's see. Which way we want to do it? Want to do it like this? Make me bigger? Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nosy. All right. I really appreciate the support for sure. All right, here we go. Fire in the hole. Y'all been warned. This is the female version of Gary, so here we go.
Now been 6 months since Charlie Kirk was killed. 6 months ago in one day, to be specific. Yesterday was the anniversary. 6 months ago in one day, our friend and one of the most influential voices in the conservative movement, to be sure, perhaps in the entire political commentariat in the United States of America, was brutally assassinated. Our friend Charlie Kirk was shot in the neck and killed while speaking on campus to college students at Utah Valley University on September 10th, 2025. 6 months later, it still feels surreal to speak these words. It was one of the most shocking displays of left-wing political violence that we have ever experienced in our.
There we go. And it started. I guess y'all caught that, but just in case, right out the gate, it's a shocking display of left-wing political violence. So that leaves no room for any kind of question. They're claiming that we're the devil because we've got questions before it goes to trial, but at the same time, they've all made up their minds who it is and exactly what the motive was, and there's no change in their mind. They're not waiting on a trial and evidence to make up their minds. So, they're all screaming from the mountaintops. It was left-wing violence. It was left-wing violence. It was Tyler Robinson. He's a crazy leftist. So thought I'd point that out. We're not in very far, but here goes the politics already.
Our entire lifetime. And that's saying a lot, because a week prior to Charlie's assassination, we had all witnessed, we'd all watched the video of poor Irina Zarutska being.
Yes, Miss Susan, that is. I used to watch her way back in the day, back when in the Glenn Beck days. I can't stand to watch any of them anymore. It's all oh God, I don't even know how to put it. I guess Philadelphia first to be the way to put it in a nutshell. There's a lot of other issues, but that's the main one. And talk about some TPUSA simping people. Like, I could understand taking up for them back when Charlie was around and back before all of this stuff is changed, before the big transformation, before TPUSA 2.0. But even with all this stuff coming out, with all those things that Erica has done, all the lies, all the everything, all the proof that all those people in his inner circle were just sorry pieces of shit. People like Glenn Beck and some others, they just absolutely, it don't matter. And Graham Allen, I could go down a whole list of them. Yeah, and it's just I can't stand to watch them anymore.
Being stabbed to death on the subway while everyone else stood around and watched her bleed out. We were shocked by that. We didn't know her. She was a refugee from Ukraine, a beautiful young girl. And yet, when Charlie was killed, it hit even differently. Because Charlie was our friend. We knew him. And the left responded to the murder of Irina Zarutska by just ignoring it. But when Charlie was assassinated, the left didn't ignore it. They celebrated. They cheered. And they posted their.
And they did. That's absolutely fact. And made me sick. And it's definitely very messed up that they would do that. But just because a group of crazy leftists got online and cheered for it is not proof of Tyler Robinson specifically doing it. What it means is that there's a world full of hate, that we're extremely polarized, that politics is getting dangerous, and that the crazy leftists really hated Charlie. That in no way proves that Tyler Robinson crawled up onto the Losi building with his grandpappy's 30-06 and shot Charlie in the neck. So they're just absolutely not related at all.
Glee. He deserved it, they said. His views were asking for it. Charlie was the most normal one of us all. There wasn't a bombastic bone in his body. He was no extremist. He was the definition of a conservative normie. And it was jarring to us to experience not only the grief that came with watching our friend brutally murdered, but the realization as we watched not just the radical fringe of the Democrat Party cheering his assassination, but people we're friends with on Facebook, people we went to college with, old coworkers, people we didn't even consider to be particularly political. the mainstream crowd were celebrating. And it was one of the most jarring things that I've ever experienced, because it came with this realization that it was Charlie Kirk they targeted. But the reality is, what they did to Charlie Kirk, they want to not hold that America is an exceptional nation, that mass immigration harms us all, that men can only be men and women can only be.
And there it goes again. There it is, talking about the colloquial left. They did it. They want to do it to all of us, and there's your proof. Tyler Robinson did it because the left is crazy and the left wants to kill us all. What about my microphone? Is it just what I was playing? Is it just what I was playing, or is it my microphone also? Because I did have an issue with the microphone the other night. I don't want to get too far into this thing with my microphone acting up. It could have just been my internet making the video chop up a little bit. Y'all let me know. Yeah, Miss Susan, there is a good chance of that. How does my mic sound? How does my voice sound? Do I sound all right on the mic? Okay. Well, yeah, it more than likely it is the weather. We have had some really nasty weather, and I apologize for that. So unless something changes and it gets real bad, y'all definitely let me know if something gets worse or if my mic starts messing up. I definitely don't want that. All right. So yeah. Anyway, the whole crazy left again. So good deal. Thank you. Yeah, so crazy left. That's proof that Tyler did it because the crazy left wants to kill all the conservatives. So, and don't get me wrong, I understand that sentiment. I mean, there's a lot of crazy people out there. Politics has gotten really polarized and is very dangerous in some instances. But to say because a whole bunch of crazy leftists want to say they want to kill a bunch of conservatives does not mean that Tyler Robinson got onto the roof of the Losi building with his grandpappy's 30-06 and shot Charlie Kirk again. But that's what she's implying. And that's just absolutely there's no reason for that. It's ridiculous if you ask me.
Women and transgender ideology is harmful. And to the left, that was justification. Now, 6 months later, this political reality has not changed. So what we're going to do today on the show.
There's a lot of people like that, nosy Google. I mean, there's a lot of people like that. I'll be honest with you. I definitely knew him and I had heard plenty, but I was not just a huge follower. I always kind of disagreed with him on his stance on Philadelphia. And it wasn't until after September the 10th that I realized that his whole attitude towards Philadelphia was going through some major changes. But I always respected him, and always thought that he was obviously a really good communicator and thought what he was doing was a good thing. Still do. But since September the 10th, yeah, I've learned a whole lot more about him and learned more about him in the past couple months or the past 6 months than I ever knew about him. But you know, these kind of situations, they have a way of doing that.
Is we're going to look.
Hey, Miss Rainin, how you doing? It's all right. I was a few minutes late. I was sitting here watching everybody talk about me in the chat, wondering if I was going to show up.
At what really happened to Charlie Kirk that day in Utah. It's been 6 months. A lot of evidence has been amassed in the past 6 months. And you've been told two competing narratives. You've been told, on one hand, that Charlie Kirk was killed by A bullet fired from the
What's up, Brett? I see you in there.
rifle of Tyler Robinson, a radical pro-transgender leftist who thought Charlie deserved to die because, quote, you can't negotiate with hate. On the other hand, you're being told that Charlie Kirk was the victim of an international
And of all things for evidence, they're quoting that damn stupid ass text message thing that they put out.
conspiracy involving foreign countries like Israel and Egypt and the French, plus the US military, and that this entire plot has been somehow covered up by Charlie's beloved wife, his widow, Erica Kirk, and high-ranking employees of Turning Point USA who worked with Charlie on a daily basis. Well, today, we're going to look at the evidence. And I want you to draw your own conclusion
Ooh, we're going to look at the evidence.
about what actually happened that day. Because the evidence exists to lead you to the truth. The truth is knowable today. And I'll share my conclusion with you based on the evidence, but I want you to let the evidence lead you if what we are seeking
That's right.
is
That's
the truth.
right.
And I think we all agree that's what it should be. So let's get started. Now, in the immediate aftermath of Charlie's assassination, and I mean the immediate aftermath, the moments afterward, the hours afterward, that day, there was immediate attention given to the only thing that we knew, which was the only thing that we saw, that video that was seen around the world. We'd never witnessed a public execution that everyone.
Yeah, she says we're going to go over the evidence. At the end of the day, what she means is we're going to go over what's in the state of Utah charging documents, which is a very, very minute amount. And I'm sorry, I don't trust half the shit that's in there. And it conflicts. I mean, it contradicts itself. And there's nothing new in that. There's nothing official come out since that original charging document came out. So to act like we're going to go over this and we're going to be breaking ground is just ridiculous in the first place. If she wants to see evidence, I can show her some evidence. Baron Coleman could show her some evidence. I mean, I could go down a whole list. Candace Owens. I mean, there's tons of them. Blake Bednar's. I mean, there's a ton of them. So if she wants to see evidence, I mean, there's a bunch of evidence out there. But what she's calling evidence is what's in that state of Utah charging document.
Could visualize.
Same shit we've already been over.
We watched Charlie Kirk die on camera. The only thing we knew in the immediate aftermath was what we saw in that video, which was the bullet entering Charlie's neck. And there were questions immediately about what type of round was used. There are always questions, of course, about how many shooters are present in mass shootings, because in the chaos of such an event, when adrenaline is high, it's hard to establish where bullets are coming from and who's firing them and how many people are targeting and how many people are being targeted. And there was a narrative that emerged almost immediately about the round that was used to
Yes, John Bray is the shit. He's got it going
kill
on.
Charlie, the 30-06 bullet.
Miss Rainin, this girl, her name is Liz Wheeler. She's one of the, I guess you could call her Con Inc. She come from Glen Beck, but that whole group of people. I want to say she did her time at the Daily Wire. I'm almost positive she was at the Daily Wire. She did the PragerU. She's made the rounds with all these mainline conservative the conservative mainstream mainline / alternative media. So, yeah, this is, I told them she's the female version of Gary Melton from Paramount Tactical. It's about it.
How could a 30-06 round not leave an exit wound? That was the question. There was no exit wound.
Nope.
Well, does that mean that the bullet wasn't fired from that rifle of Tyler Robinson? Maybe it wasn't a 30-06 bullet. Maybe it wasn't a bullet at all.
Maybe they shot a 22 bullet out of a 30-06 rifle, right? Wrong.
Maybe everything we were told in the hours after Charlie's death about who shot him and why, maybe it was all a lie. We need to question it. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at what the evidence shows us about the answers to these questions. We're going to analyze.
At least Gary from Paramount Tactical can kind of at least he can claim some experience and kind of convince some people that he knows what he's talking about, at least when it comes to firearms and all that kind of thing. She can't. That's the problem.
We're going to analyze the evidence because the evidence tells us a few critical things. And I think let's start by saying it's fair to say that a 30-06.
Yes, Miss Rainin. I don't know if she's already said it or if it's coming, but yes, she said that we witnessed we witnessed the bullet strike him in the neck. I think she did just say it. I didn't catch it when she first said it. But yeah, I said that we witnessed the bullet hit him in the neck. Yeah, right. I don't think anybody saw the bullet hit him in the neck.
Round, that's the size of the round, often results in an explosion. We also
I don't like her either. Talk about little high and mighty.
The video of a 30-06 round being fired into a dummy made of ballistics gel, and the result of that was the explosion of the dummy, the explosion of that ballistics gel. And we were told this narrative. We were told that this is what happens when a 30-06 round is fired into human flesh as well.
Right.
And so I want to start by saying I think it's fair to say that a 30-06 round often results in just that type of explosion. And it is rarer, but while it is rarer, it is also certainly possible for something like a bone or human flesh to prevent a 30-06 round from exiting the body, especially.
Okay. So Miss Liz Wheeler, what type of bone? What kind of bone would do that? What kind of bone could make a 30-06 bullet not exit the human body? Let's see, maybe a neck vertebrae, something that's like this big around, hollow, got little wings on it, you know? I mean, not very significant. I've seen 30-06s literally blow through cow legs, like cow femurs, like nothing. So to even act like that one bone in his neck could have kept it from exiting just makes her look stupid.
If the angle of the shot causes a ricochet effect downward into the body.
So everybody that has figured that has come up with about the same angle. I've heard anywhere from 9 to 12, but most people land somewhere between actually 9 and 10 degrees. 9 and 10 degrees is so little angle, especially over that distance, that it makes almost no difference at point of impact as far as ricocheting. Now, if it came like this, yeah, okay, maybe it would affect it like that, could possibly make it ricochet, but 9 degrees over that 140 something yards is still basically coming straight on. So that's not even a good argument.
And you'll remember,
it's called talking points is what this is. These are talking points.
Tyler Robinson, the man who is now been charged with the murder of Charlie Kirk, was up on a rooftop. Charlie was down on the grass. There was an angle of the shot. And according to the surgeon that
very little
operated on Charlie, that is what happened to Charlie, a downward ricochet of the bullet, which was then extracted from his body. We also heard in the immediate aftermath that
I don't think that's exactly what he said. We could pull up the charging document, but I don't think that's exactly what he said.
No matter how young and strong Charlie Kirk was, he did not have a neck of steel. And this misses an important point. There was a debate about whether the doctor who operated on Charlie had said that Charlie had a neck of steel, or whether Charlie's spokesman, his producer, his executive producer and longtime friend, Andrew Colvett, had independently propagated that idea. And I believe this is missing the point.
Oh, that's missing the point. So, in other words, that could be fact. May not be fact. But according to Candace Owens, Erica Kirk is the one that claimed that he went rogue and he came up with that on his own. Now, are we to believe what Erica Kirk says? Uh, I don't believe much she says, but just the same, she just kind of glossed over that. Is this something that Andrew came up with? Well, that's besides the point.
Because the idea that a 30-06 round might enter even human flesh, an exit wound, is actually not as unusual as you think. Plenty of hunters who
Not as unusual as you think. This goofy, this woman here has probably never even shot a gun.
who use 30-06 rounds for hunting moose and elk can testify to this. It's documented in medical research numerous times related to human beings.
Okay, it is documented in medical research numerous times. Why, for the love of God, everybody that says this same exact talking point over and over and over again, why do they not show these medical documents? I have yet to see one. I've looked for them. I can't find said documents that show somebody getting shot with a 30-06 straight on and it not just going out the back.
In fact, remember, Martin Luther King Jr. was
blonde bubble brain.
also assassinated with a 30-06 round. And likewise, there was no exit wound on MLK Jr.
Again, I'm going to just say MLK Jr., I mean, we're talking apples and oranges. With MLK Jr., best I remembered, I'm pretty sure the shot came from on the ground. I want to say he was on a balcony. Either way, he was elevated. The shot was at an upward angle. And if I remember correctly, he was on that balcony and was actually leaned over. So he was leaned over with his head down. This guy was shooting at an upward angle. The bullet comes in. Yes, technically it hits him in the neck, but the way it goes in his neck, it's traveling almost parallel with his body. So it goes this way, just straight through. That is a totally different scenario than a bullet basically straight on coming on and hitting a 5-6 inches of neck that has nothing in it. They're they're not comparable in any way whatsoever.
But this is critical too. There are many types of 30-06 rounds.
Ooh, yeah.
30-06 is a size. It is not a description of the type of round. If the round that killed Charlie Kirk, for example, was a frangible round means a round intended to disperse inside the object of impact.
Absolutely, Miss Rainin, 100%. I'm with John Bray.
Then there would be no expectation of an exit wound. Now,
oh, did y'all hear that? If it was a frangible round, there would be no expectation of an exit wound. Have any of y'all happened to see any of these videos of some of these people that have tested these frangibles? Tell you what, we're here doing this thing. Let me see. I should have had one pulled and ready. Yeah, let's see if I can find one. Y'all bear with me here. Let's see. Search. Okay. Well, let's see. All right, I got one here. We'll have to try to skip through some of the BS, but it's a good video. I've seen this. Okay, I'm gonna share this one instead. All right, y'all. We're gonna watch some. We're gonna see what frangible ammo does. Since there would be no. Oh yeah, heavy duty country. It's heavy duty country and Jesse on Fire. Jesse on Fire has lost his ever loving damn mind, but either way, it's still pretty good stuff. All right, let's see. Let's see what happens with their frangible.
Guess what this is? The frangible 30.6 rounds on the internet. You're looking at them right here.
So I do want to thank a couple of you. It's actually this really good-looking blonde that told me her dad.
All right, we're gonna get on to the good stuff.
Almost impossible. How much were these per round?
These were $12 a round. And actually, a couple interesting notes about these. These are from 1945 stockpiles. The only reason that that is actually extremely notable is because the whole story from the FBI is that Tyler Robinson shot a 1945, his grandpa's Mauser or whatever. So it's like, it is not 100% impossible that he also had these frangible bullets from 1945, and he's such a stupid that he didn't realize that they were from 1945 and he shot them anyway.
I personally don't believe these.
Today, Junior?
Even having these rounds, like this isn't like we're not practicing CQB here. Somebody having these is stupid. It's dumb, unless you're a collector.
That's what
Right.
That's what these are, collectors. Yeah.
Yeah. So, big shout out to Jesse. What do you think, dude?
I don't.
Come on, let's see some shooting. There we go.
That's a fucking direct hit.
All right, now this is the frangible. This is the one that she said there would be no expectation that it would
Man,
go
are
through
we
the
getting the
neck
picture?
or come out the
And
neck.
this isn't some like store bought. I went to a fucking welding shop to get this. This is legit steel made for shooting rounds. The neck is separated. So I got a hickory smoked, not that the flavor, try not to cuss, dude.
Oh, well, I messed that up right out of the gate then.
We are shooting hickory smoked young
Right
turkeys,
through that
but
steel
they're
plate,
very,
Miss Susan.
a lot thicker than a neck, a lot of bone. And we're gonna put a concrete block behind it. You wanna grab one of those.
Yeah, I want to be real clear, y'all. I'm watching this video with him doing this 30-06 thing with Heavy Duty Country, but yeah, me and him part ways right there. Like I'm not about that. I just don't see it.
Cinder blocks from down there. Just try to get one that's halfway.
No, I mean, I agree. It's good. It is good meat, but look, it's for a worthy cause.
Doable.
I watched Trigger Smart's 223 frange video literally 20 minutes ago, and even the 223 frangible went straight through a roast that was a perfect mimic of a.
It's a decent amount of meat.
Them dudes can't quit playing.
Okay.
That's way more meat than.
All right, let's see. Come on, I want to see a shot.
Yep. That's perfect, dude.
Huh? This is exactly the distance.
Oh my God.
That was half the sound of the big one. That was weird, dude.
Oh my God, it went all the way through. It went all the way through and it hit that.
Oh my God. Straight through.
Holy shit. So it went through and it broke. Look at that, dude. Straight through that bone.
Liz Wheeler said, though, if it was one of those frangibles and it hit Charlie Kirk's 6-inch neck with basically no bones in it, except for the little vertebra in the back, that it should have stopped it, though. Said there'd be no expectation of it exiting.
I saw it hit the grass back there like it, like it was like not even impinged by anything.
The way that round sounded, it sounded, I thought I shot an airsoft gun.
It sounded like there was 50% power.
Okay, here we go again. Lord of mercy. Got to get through all the BS to get to the good stuff in here. Ain't got time for all that. Bird shot, yeah. Well,
That is crazy how quiet that is, dude.
That's a hit, though.
It's still going through it, though.
Yeah, right through.
Straight through, again, totally different hole. Through bone. Broke
Dude,
the cinder block
you know
up.
what's fucking weird, though? I can't not say this. This looks like an awful lot like Charlie's neck. I'm not saying he got shot from the back, but like, this sure as fuck doesn't.
And the bone in here?
But I'm saying the entrance, I know a 30-06 goes straight through his fucking neck for sure.
We could eat this. What do you think? Should we do this or this? I don't think it's going through this.
I don't think it's gonna go through that either. There's not enough, it's probably doesn't have enough speed.
Right. Let's try this.
I don't care what you try. Let's just get it tried. Look at that rig.
Think I'm gonna be able to hit that?
Now, let's consider 6-inch neck with a little vertebra in there, and then let's compare this big old monstrosity they got right here. One of which is a big old cow bone.
I think I will.
Yeah, if it's
bet I
low,
will.
then we'll go through that.
All right, you guys. Here we are. We're going through bone.
What are you talking about?
I rage bait him a lot.
Oopsies.
Got him.
Okay. So guys, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna show you a regular 30-06 that's not from 1940, whatever the just so you can hear the difference in sound.
So you want me to put one at the dirt near the steel?
I would say, yeah.
Is that
Let's not
recording
waste anything. You say something?
I'll shoot like 10 yards short.
Just shoot the steel.
Shoot the steel?
Yeah.
All right.
So way different. So that's gotta be the gunpowder.
Look at that.
So guys, at an entry right there, straight through.
Oh yeah.
So one detail in terms of the official story, of course, Tyler Robinson got on the roof, did it by himself. Okay, so something I know to be fact is that Lance Twiggs, you know, everybody's looking at him, they're like, oh, this guy, he's a trans furry, whatever. Well, I know that he went hunting on his family's property a lot. So you got one guy who is very, very good and experienced firing rifles at living things. And then you got another guy who isn't, and one of them has some old 30-06 that makes no difference or no chance that you could make that shot, even if you did, and frangible rounds makes no fucking sense. And then you have another guy who had access to...
Okay, that's enough jibber jabbering. We get the point. So, I don't know how much more it takes to prove. I don't know how much more it takes to prove that the frangibles do not make a difference at all. But that whole frangible story is just absolutely bullshit. Miss Susan, I know it's one of them. It may not be the hardest, but I think maybe the skull is right on up there, you know, too. But as far as the rest of the bones, yes, it probably is. Yeah, I think you're probably right. Excluding the old, at least mine. I got a stout noggin, really hard head. All right, let's put ourselves through a little more of it. Y'all want to? Got to hear this.
According to many sources who were there, that when Charlie was killed, the round that killed Charlie was indeed a frangible round.
What the hell does that mean? According to sources that were there, The round indeed was a frangible round. So that can mean one of two things. One, they're just lying, because if they didn't have anything to do with anything, then they would have no way of knowing, because all they see is the end result, right? Or two, he actually gets shot with something. The only way they could know that it was a frangible bullet is if they had some kind of foreknowledge in the whole event. Correct? Is there a third option that I'm missing here? She said plainly, according to sources that were there, it was indeed a frangible bullet. What does that mean? I think it means she's full of shit. They're all full of shit. That's exactly what that means.
Now, we won't know that for certain until the trial, when evidence of that nature will probably be publicly revealed.
She's getting everybody's hopes up. I can guarantee you, if it gets much further and he doesn't get Einstein, I'm telling you, he's gonna play out. I can guarantee, just about guarantee you, and none of this will ever be shown to the public.
But it's important to note that the type of 30-06 round matters.
And a lot of money. I mean, you know how much money you would have to pay me to say something that I know is going to make me look that stupid? I mean, my God.
And
they're not even paying them to do like subtle things. I mean, maybe they are, but this isn't subtle. This is straight up stupid.
of us, not you, not me, not your favorite podcaster, know for certain what type of 30-06 round that was.
It's the non-existent kind. It was no 30-06 round. I can say that with almost 100% certainty. 99.9999999. I do not believe that a 30-06 entered Charlie's body.
Anyone who claims to know for certain is either exaggerating or lying, or if they're lying, probably to substantiate some.
Well, now, you just said if they claim to know what kind of bullet it was, that they're lying. Did you not just say that people were there that day that confirmed that it was indeed a frangible round? So I guess they're lying. And she just said they're lying.
Other theory.
This is the problem with paying people to say stupid shit. When you lie like that, it's hard to keep track of them, and you end up contradicting yourself.
So that's the first question, the first narrative that we encountered based on the evidence that we saw in the immediate aftermath of Charlie Kirk's assassination. And it's certainly a question worth asking. But what does the evidence tell us? Well, the evidence also tells us,
I don't know, Miss Susan,
more about Tyler Robinson himself. In the immediate aftermath of Charlie Kirk's assassination, of course, the authorities staged an enormous investigative effort, a manhunt to search for the person who had fired the bullet into Charlie Kirk. And it took them, felt to us like a very long time between that moment that we got the news that Charlie Kirk had died and the arrest of Tyler Robinson. And yet what happened in that interim that led to the arrest of Tyler Robinson is critical. Tyler Robinson's parents were the ones who actually recognized him after law enforcement had released photos.
Yeah, Brett, I'm pretty sure Beck is a Mormon. He may be just Mormon connected, but I'm pretty sure he's Mormon.
Photos of Tyler Robinson making his getaway after he had fired that shot into Charlie Kirk. He himself, Tyler Robinson.
I don't know, Miss Susan. I kind of agree with what you're saying there. I don't think he's guilty of what they're saying, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if he was guilty of something. I don't think that they just pulled his name out of a hat and he got tied up in it that way. I feel like he did in some way, cooperate in this whole thing. I just don't feel like, this whole thing can be laid on his shoulders. I don't think he killed Charlie Kirk, but I do, unless, and I could easily have my mind changed on that, but I feel like he probably was some type of accessory. I don't think he's completely innocent.
Accompanied by his parents and a family friend, actually turned himself into the Washington County Sheriff's Office. But this is according to the
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he bit off more than he could chew. That's for sure.
charging affidavit. On the evening of September 11th, 2025, that's the day after Charlie was killed, as law enforcement continued their investigation, Tyler James Robinson went to the Washington County Sheriff's Office with his parents and a
Too many.
family friend to turn himself in. Robinson's mother stated the following to police. On September 11th, 2025, the day after the shooting, Robinson's mother saw the photo of the shooter in the
Me too, Brett.
news and thought the shooter looked like her son.
All right, y'all, be listening. Here it comes.
Robinson's mother called her son and asked him where he was. He said he was homesick and that he had also been homesick on September 10th. Robinson's mother expressed concern to her husband that the suspected shooter looked like Robinson. Robinson's father agreed. Robinson's father also recognized the rifle that had been found outside of the event.
Hold on. I got something for y'all. This is very important. So which rifle did he recognize? Now, it's important to note that actually, I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure there were no pictures of any rifle. I know there were. There were no pictures of any rifle out at that time. So that kind of just destroys that argument right then and there. But let's just say there was. Okay. So was it this rifle here? Or was it this rifle here that he recognized? And to me, that's a pretty good question because it could make a difference. God, is it not in that picture? I guess it's not. Let's see. I must have cropped it out of there. I wish I hadn't done that. Okay, well, man, I can't believe I did that. Anyway, on this photo here across the bottom, and I don't know how I cropped that off, but anyway, it says on here that this photo was this photo was you know what? Hold on. I'm going to tell you exactly what it says because I got it. I screenshotted it off my phone. Yeah, I sure did. I cut that thing right off. All right, let's see. All right, here we go. Okay, so that photo across the bottom says the bolt action rifle recovered near the scene of where Charlie Kirk was shot, obtained by the New York Post. That is this gun you're looking at right here. So this is the one that was found close to where he was shot. This photo was obtained by the New York Post. Remember that. Okay. This is obviously not the same kind of rifle. Not at all, right? Correct? Okay. Gun that killed Charlie Kirk is World War I era rifle that may have been untraceable. And of course, I cropped that shit off too. I cropped these in a hurry, guys. Obviously, entirely too much of a hurry. The bottom of that, though, says, let's see. Oh, no, this is what I was, no, I'm sorry. Okay. If you look there right under Charlie's picture, what's that say? Does that say New York Post? That's an article by the New York Post. Says that the gun that killed Charlie is a World War I era rifle that may have been untraceable. shows the picture right there. But then if you go back here, it says that this is the gun that was collected by, the police just not far from where Charlie was shot. And that this photo was given to the New York Post. So the New York Post literally has two different pictures of two different rifles saying that they're the gun that killed Charlie Kirk. I just think that's amazing that both of them, not only were they both submitted by mainstream news, but that this black rifle was literally given to the New York Post. It was obtained by the New York Post. And then that article I showed you with the Woodstock gun showing the older rifle was a New York Post article. So, I mean, not only, like I said, are they both mainstream news, they're both the same. They're both the same news organization. It could very well be. Bubble brain. That's right. It's good stuff. I don't know. It just blows my mind. Blows my mind. Okay. We'll get back where we were at. All right, let's see how much dumber we can make ourselves.
The rifle that had been used to fire the bullet that killed Charlie Kirk, he recognized it as a family heirloom. His father had given it to his son, Tyler Robinson. He texted Tyler, his son, and asked him about it. And Tyler Robinson did not respond to that text. This is a critical piece of information because this is not a young man whose family is screaming from the rooftops that he has been falsely accused. This is parents who are facing what I can only imagine as a parent myself is the worst possible nightmare, recognizing their son as having committed one of the most heinous crimes, as I mentioned.
She's probably a bubble biter. She's probably the type that likes to run a big old bath and sit in there and relax and blow bubbles and bite them and see what they taste like.
Mentioned earlier in our entire lifetime. Now, Tyler Robinson's DNA was also found on various items around the crime scene. This is, again, according to the law enforcement affidavit. The rifle that was used to kill Charlie
Sorry, Miss Susan.
Kirk, ammunition rounds, and the towel that he rested his cheek on when he was taking his position to fire his shot were sent for forensic processing. DNA consistent with Robinson's was found on the trigger. Other parts of the rifle, the fired cartridge casing, 2 of the 3 unfired cartridges, and the towel. That's a lot of DNA.
You got cigarettes tonight, Miss Susan? I can't take it easy on the puffer tonight, to make it easier on you.
Found on a lot of the different items that were used in the commission of this crime. And it's worth noting here, too.
Yeah, you're right. No, it is. It absolutely is. You can, yes, and good point, Brett. I got something on that here in just a second. But yeah, it is the easiest to plant. I mean, you literally need one hair. I mean, and it's so easy to just boop, stash it in there. Dead skin cells. Good Lord. Like you said, it is the absolute easiest to plant, and without anybody knowing it.
That DNA evidence is very difficult to falsify. It's also,
I don't know if she chose that word carefully or if she just got lucky. No, you can't falsify DNA, but it is like was just said here in the chat. It is very easy to plant it.
Very easy to refute if it is faked. So there have been some reports that, or some speculation, I should say, that there was the DNA of multiple different people found on the rifle that was used, the rifle that had belonged to Tyler Robinson's grandfather, which isn't actually that unusual, or that it doesn't present that much of a red flag because it's a family heirloom. I think you could expect that there would be the DNA of multiple family members on that rifle. We don't know who else's DNA is on there. I'd certainly be interested in that information. I'm sure you would too. Hopefully information of that nature will be presented to the public at some point.
Yeah,
but
hopefully.
The point of this is, if Tyler Robinson's defense team believed that his DNA was not on that rifle or had somehow almost miraculously been planted on that rifle, they could send the rifle in to a third party, an independent analysis to refute that.
Really?
And yet, at least up until this point, not only has his family not said, hey, my son did not commit this crime, they were the ones that recognized him and convinced him to turn himself in.
Okay. Just maybe this big bad gag order that judge put out, has she considered that possibly that gag order keeps them from saying anything? I mean, I don't know that to be the case, but I wouldn't be surprised.
In versus committing suicide, which is what he had expressed his wish to do in the aftermath.
Okay. God, these people. I'm not going to pull it up. Right? I'm not going to pull it up. It's not worth going through just to get that. I should have already had it loaded. I was looking at the charging document earlier. The charging document plainly says and contradicts itself within like one paragraph. It says plainly that Tyler was suicidal. But then it turns right around and said the friend went and talked to him or called him up and talked to him, convinced him to go in because he explained how that they're going to come pick him up and that they're going to send SWAT and that it could turn into a mess and he might get killed. So Tyler turned himself in for fear of being shot. Literally 2 sentences before it said that he was suicidal. So which is it? Was he wanting to kill himself or was he scared he was going to get killed?
But the DNA found on all of these objects around the crime scene matched Tyler Robinson. Now, it's also important to note at this point that we should always question authorities. We should always question, especially government authorities. I don't trust government officials. They can prove to me what they say. I'm not going to take their word for it. And I don't care if you're on the same side of the aisle.
All right, before we get too far away from that, let me go ahead. I said I had something on that whole DNA thing. Give me 1 second here. We are going to have a quick detour here. I should have this bookmarked, so this should not be too terrible hard to find. Bookmarks should be the last. There it is. Okay, let's share this instead. All righty. Fire in a hole. Listen here what this man has to say. This is one of the prosecutors.
But what I want to focus on this evening is the so-called murder weapon and the pile of so-called evidence that investigators pulled out of the woods. Now,
Hi guys, I'm going off camera for just a second. I'll be right here. I'm literally just going off camera. My face will be right back. I'll still be here.
look, we already know that Charlie Kirk wasn't shot in the neck with a .30-06. That just didn't happen. And something else that didn't happen is that Tyler Robinson didn't leave a pile of evidence in the woods. And I'm not just saying that because it's my opinion or because I just feel like it. I'm saying it because it's true. In fact, it's already come out in court. You may not have heard because nobody's really talking about it, but during a pretrial hearing just yesterday, new information was revealed proving exactly what I just said and a whole lot more. There are some serious problems with this case. And one of those problems is the fact that the so-called murder weapon that investigators found in the woods contains the DNA of at least 5 people. Yes, 5 people. You heard that right. The rifle that we are told Tyler Robinson used to shoot Charlie Kirk in the neck, only for the bullet, of course, to be caught by Charlie's Superman-like bones of steel, is riddled with the DNA of people who aren't Tyler Robinson. At least 5 different people had their hands and their DNA all over this weapon. And again, this was revealed in open court on video. This is information that Turning Point USA and the Fox News Channel and the rest of them don't want you to know, but watch this.
You said there was evidence, the DNA, was evidence consistent, or DNA consistent with the defendant's DNA found on that rifle?
Object to hearsay.
Counsel?
This really ought to be considered under kind of a 104 rule of evidence here. We're not offering the admission of this to prove guilt, but whether or not there's a conflict of interest, the existence of other evidence besides the adult child in this case is relevant to whether or not she is a material witness. If we've got DNA proving or suggesting or proving otherwise, it's directly relevant to that. And under 104, the court can consider it.
All right. And Ms. Nestor, anything further?
No, sir.
All right. Based off, so I will overrule the objection based off Rule 104, and as it relates only to this case, this hearing today.
Understood.
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Is DNA consistent with the defendant's DNA found on the firearm that was found at the scene?
Yes, the DNA on the firearm was consistent with that of Mr. Robinson.
You mentioned the DNA evidence. You're certainly not a DNA expert. Is that correct?
I'm not, no.
And are you aware that the DNA evidence that was seized from the scene consisted of a mixture of at least 5 different individuals?
I'm not a DNA expert, so.
So you know enough to say what helps him, but you're not going to answer whether or not there were 5 individuals mixed into that DNA.
I'm not aware of that, no.
Okay. And you're certainly not qualified to interpret complex DNA mixtures, are you?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Okay.
I absolutely love that. Said, was Tyler Robinson's DNA on there? Oh yeah, it sure was. Was there DNA from 4 or 5 other people on there? I don't know. I'm no DNA expert. Uh-huh. That's the kind of thing we're going to get out of this case. That's the kind of just out of this world detective work, police work that we're getting. Super transparent.
What you just saw there is a federal agent, obviously of foreign origin, being put on the spot and refusing to answer that question because he would have to admit that the murder weapon is no more linked to Tyler Robinson than it is to everyone else whose DNA was found on it. I mean, this is huge.
That's Stu Peters. Knows a Google. That's Stu Peters. He's Stu Peters is great. I love him. I tell you what, I don't watch him that much, and I'll tell you why. I like a little bit of variety. Every now and then he'll report on this or he'll report on that, and it's great. Trust me, I'm not a fan of Philadelphia, but anytime he doesn't have anything special like this that he's reporting on, it's all Philadelphia. And I mean, it gets a bit redundant, so that's why I don't watch him that much. But I always try to keep an eye on his stuff to, So, and he's not on YouTube. Matter of fact, he got kicked off. They won't let him on YouTube. So, and that's why I try to bring a lot of clips to YouTube from him. I don't know if you've gone back and watched any of my earlier videos, but I've got a couple that have Mitch Snow and John Bray, and they're full interviews. There's a full interview with John Bray that is Stu Peters, and there's at least one full interview of Mitch Snow that's Stu Peters. Anyway, I like to do that because he can't be on YouTube, and so like to bring something that these people aren't going to find unless they go elsewhere. But yeah, you can find him on Rumble, and of course you can find him on X, but not on YouTube. So yeah, if y'all get Rumble and make an account, look, I mean, if y'all want to watch me on YouTube, that's fine. I don't care, but at least go over there and sub to me. So I haven't been really pushing it, so I've only got like, I'm not gonna lie, like 3 or 4 subscribers over there. It's bad, but I've been meaning to plug the Rumble channel a little bit, so I can maybe get some subs over there too. So, like I said, y'all want to keep watching on YouTube, that's fine. I mean, I prefer YouTube in a lot of ways, but yeah, if y'all got an account or end up getting an account, make sure you look me up and sub me over there too. I'd appreciate it. You could be right, Miss Susan, but yeah, I'm on there, Miss Susan. I just I don't really plug it. I don't think to, and I need to start doing it. Yes, I am on there. I'll be honest with you. I can't live stream on there yet because I have to get a certain amount of subscribers to live stream. I was manually uploading all the videos, and then I got to doing a video every day, and I got behind. And so, yeah, I'm just going to hold off, wait till I get a few more subscribers on there, and then I'm just going to start live streaming to both. I can't live stream to Rumble yet. I got to get a few more subs. So that's that. But yes, I am on there. All right, let's get back to Miss Wheeler, the blonde brainiac.
I don't care if I voted for you. I don't care if I like you. I don't care if you're a good guy, a good apple. I want to see proof. We have been hurt.
Oh God, Beanie Johnson. I used to watch him too. Look, I'm telling you, all of these people. I used to watch all these people. Nosy Google, don't remember how you found me. I don't know, but I'm glad you did. All of y'all that are regulars in here in the chat, it's awesome. That's what makes it worthwhile. Hopefully we can build it up and get y'all a few more people in there to hang out with. But by God, I really enjoy having y'all in there every time. I know I can count on y'all being there.
Betrayed, misled too many times by too many agencies and institutions in our government just to take a government official's word for it because they give it to you.
Well, there you go. There you go, Miss Rain. And you can go over there. You can find me. You can hit sub, and you can just keep watching me on YouTube, and just, but that'll give me another sub over there. And just while we're here and paused, obviously I know most of y'all guys are all subscribed and all that. Make sure you hit the like button, share. And one other thing, until I get monetized, and I ain't going to be begging, but just so you know, it's going across the bottom, paypal.me//AdamTF. There is a PayPal there. If anybody just feels like they have to, that'll be the place I guess you can contribute until I get monetized. So just letting y'all know that's there.
So it's worth noting here that this investigation, when I talk about law enforcement and I talk about these different pieces of evidence, this is not coming from the FBI, a corrupt institution, if there ever was one, that deserves to be absolutely razed to the ground. Vital functions farmed out, get rid of the rest. Notwithstanding the reality that Kash Patel is the FBI director, doesn't matter. This was not primarily an FBI investigation. This investigation was conducted primarily by local and state authorities in Utah. That includes analysis of the crime scene. Mm-hmm. The crime scene was there was another narrative that happened, or that emerged in the immediate aftermath in the days following Charlie's assassination, that said the crime scene was corrupted. The crime scene was paved over. They did construction on it.
There's a really big difference between corrupted and paved over. Corrupted would mean like if you went in there and mixed up some stuff, or, started handling stuff that actually, destroyed some of the evidence. But so I don't know I don't think that's ever been an issue, that the crime scene was corrupted. I mean, it was, I guess, even that first day, people stealing hats, pulling out SD cards. That's besides the point. The point she's trying to make is about the pavers. And hey, maybe maybe they come in and they did their collection and they turned it loose. They turned it back to UVU. Maybe that's all legit. But I think the whole point is that if they really wanted to do a thorough investigation, if they wanted to make sure everything was covered and that they left no stones unturned, they should have kept that crime scene, whether they were there looking and, collecting stuff every day or not. They should have at least kept it, not allowed them to have access to it for a while. What if something else comes? What if down the road, guess what? Some theory about some exploding microphone comes up, and ooh, we need to test the soil to see if there's any, or go back and look for some little shards of tempered glass or plastic. Guess what? If they had kept it and not allowed UVU to take it back, they could always go back and do that. But they didn't. They let it go back within like 2 days, and within a couple more days, it was paved the hell over. End of story.
It was completely contaminated. What are they trying to cover up? And the small assumption here, you know the thesis of this show, that small assumptions allow big lies, and that's why we question.
Hey, y'all are talking about commercials in there. So basically now they've got, both of them are about the same. Rumble is way worse about the commercials. It seems to me the advertisement, they're way more, that like they're every couple minutes, it seems like, on Rumble. Now you can get a Rumble Premium. It's like $10, $12 a month, and it's ad free. And it's the same as with YouTube. YouTube, you get the YouTube Premium. It's like $12.99 a month, and it's ad free. So they're both the same. I think Rumble's a little worse about ads than YouTube is, but either one of them, you can get the premium version and not have advertisements.
Question everything on this show. That's what we encourage everyone to question everything. No question.
Absolutely, Nosy Google. That's absolutely. That was really, really sad. Yeah, just like the John Bennett. I have to tell you what, we ever get to the bottom of this and this goes away, don't worry about everybody. Just, I mean, maybe some people will just close up shop, but I won't be. There's plenty to go back and look at. If we ever get to the bottom of this one, trust me, we'll just go on to the next one. That one right there would be an interesting one to go back and look at. The John Bennett, Ramsey. Of course, there's all kinds of others. The Las Vegas shooting. I mean, we could go back and look at 9/11 for all I care. So, yeah, we'll have plenty to go back and critique.
Offensive. The only thing offensive is not allowing the evidence and the truth to lead, or the evidence to lead you to the truth. But the smallest
Raining, $25 a month for family YouTube Premium. Yeah, I could see that. I've just got the regular premium. I think it's $12.99, but yeah, $25.99 or $25 a month probably isn't bad for the family premium.
assumption here is that anything that we have heard from law enforcement is the equivalent of Fed slop. And I think that's a mistaken.
Well, you hang on to them theories. One of these days we may have to look into that. That'd be an interesting one to go back and check out again.
Assumption that is one of those small assumptions that causes an enormous lie, the enormous lie that, feds are running this prosecution and we can't really trust the feds, because wasn't it just 2 years ago, 3 years ago before?
So there again, putting words in people's mouth. Can't trust the feds. That's not the issue. I have never once said that you can't it's just the feds that you can't trust. It's government, period. It is, I mean, it's sad, but anymore it's government, period. It's authority, period. I don't trust the state of Utah any more or less than I trust the FBI, and that's just the way it is. Corrupt investigation, no matter who's running it. And I can guarantee you, if our theories are anywhere close to being correct, it's a mixture of both. You can't have this. You can't have something like this go on and both not be involved. So it's not just a Fed thing. She's making it out like it's just a Fed thing, but no, I'm sorry. She's saying, look, this case is totally trustworthy. We can trust it. Everybody doesn't trust the FBI, but guess what? It's not the FBI's investigation. It's the state of Utah's investigation. Well, whoop-de-freaking do. I don't care. I don't trust the state of Utah any more than I do the FBI.
Or Trump, that the feds were trying to prosecute us. Well, this isn't Fed slop because it's not the FBI investigation. Yeah.
She said Fed slop. And yes, it is very much Fed slop. And you know why? Regardless of who ran the thing, I mean, Kash Patel even come out and said that the FBI collected a lot of evidence and gave to them. So for one, they were feeding them evidence. And for two, at the end of the day, who's got the bigger platform? Who has made the most public statements? it's the FBI that has set the narrative. So yes, regardless of whether Utah run the investigation or the FBI ran the investigation, it's fucking Fed slop. That's what it is.
Yes, the FBI flew in and did a press conference after, sort of in combination with local law enforcement, but behind the scenes, local law enforcement was actually quite annoyed at the FBI because the FBI was taking credit for things that local law enforcement agencies had done, which is not what the FBI is typically supposed to do. They are supposed to give credit where credit is due and not try to take credit for themselves. So it's worth noting that
you mean like Cash Patel saying like 3 times they had the suspect in custody?
in the immediate aftermath of Charlie's assassination, it was the campus police at Utah Valley University that immediately cordoned off the rooftop where Tyler Robinson had fired that shot in order.
That was a bit of an exaggeration too, because there was nothing immediately cordoned off, just so everybody's clear.
To preserve that crime scene. That happened on September 10th.
Oh yeah, preserve the hell out of that crime scene.
The entire camp.
I don't know if y'all realize it or not, but you know, there's different pictures of that spot of gravel where he supposedly got down and took the shot. And there's actually 2 different pictures of that. And it appears by the pictures that there's 2 different patterns, like that where the knees and different things are at. One of them, it appears like he was literally just hunched down on all 4s. And the other one looks more like he was laying down prone. So I thought that was pretty curious too.
Campus, not just the courtyard, was locked down less than an hour later. This was, of course, to prevent any unauthorized access to the crime scene that would have contaminated it. That crime scene was secured the rest of the day on September 10th, the entire day, September 11th, and then also the following day on September 12th. Meanwhile, as this crime scene is secured, hundreds of law enforcement officers and officials, I'm talking the university, Utah Valley University Police, I'm talking Orem Police Department of Public Safety, in addition to agencies like the FBI and the ATF, they spent those 3 days documenting the entire scene. When I say documenting, I mean photos, videos of the rooftop and the courtyard, samples from the soil where Charlie was killed, DNA samples galore, palm prints, a footprint from the roof, etc. And after this documentation, this collection of evidence was complete, they then released the crime scene. That happened.
How do you know it's complete? Unless you already know the narrative before you start collecting evidence, how do you know it's complete? Don't you collect what you can, what's obvious, and then once a picture, a narrative starts emerging, then you look at that narrative and see if there's anything else that you may have missed, and you go back and you may possibly collect something else. Only in this case, you'd have to move a bunch of concrete pavers.
On Saturday. And yes, it does feel quick. You think, oh my goodness, a crime scene like this, should this not be cordoned off for months at a time? But the answer to that is typically in murder cases, when there's an active crime scene, when there's a need to collect evidence, no, it doesn't actually take months at a time. It takes a couple of days. There's a laundry list of pieces of evidence that law enforcement goes to collect. They do their job.
Yeah, nosy. Hundreds now. I don't think I've seen more than 3 or 4 at a time there ever.
And they get out. That's what happened. After they got what they needed and got out, on Sunday, Utah Valley University cleaned up the crime scene. I mean, I'm sorry to be graphic here, but blood is a biohazard, and they have students walking through there. And then they put pavers over the grass where, I mean, there was indentations. There was evidence of Charlie's murder.
God knows that they couldn't deter those students just slightly away from there.
And I think it's fine to criticize what Utah Valley University did.
I'm glad you're okay with criticizing them. That makes me feel a lot better now. At least I know I can criticize them.
It seemed weird. It seemed like they were trying to erase what had happened.
Yes, nosy. There are. And I've made this point so many times, and I always enjoy making it, so I'm going to make it again right now. You know, we had JFK, we had RFK, we had MLK. You know, we've got an attempt on Reagan, attempt on Trump, and there's others in between. All these political assassinations and political assassination attempts. And this one is so much different than any of the others. And I think that's part of what they miscalculated. This is just a new day and age. Back then, you had to take their word for it. And, you know, it took a while for any real alternate theories to come out with JFK. How long did it take for the Zapruder film to come out? You know, in this day and age, before the sun went down on September the 10th, people already had a bad gut feeling, and people were already collecting pictures, you know, photos, videos, evidence, and just pouring over it and sharing it back and forth. Like, this is a different day and age. Instant information. I mean, everything is at your fingertips, and they cannot lie to people like they used to. Now, as long as people are stupid and yes men and just go with what they say, yeah, they can. But people are starting to wake up a little bit, and the majority of folks just ain't having it no more. So, you know, that being the case, they can't just lie to us like they could before. It was easy before. Now, not so much.
It happened by changing the scene immediately.
Yeah, I mean, there was 3,000 cameras out there besides the UVU cameras and stuff. So
afterward, and yet at the same time, I can understand why someone would feel the inclination to do that or even make that choice, because
yeah, that's right. There's a bunch that that have woken up, Miss Susan, but there's still a bunch more to go.
You don't want it to be something where, you know, leftists quite literally come and stomp on Charlie's grave, or their students are traumatized. You don't want them to, you know, be picturing that every time they walk by. There's reasons that it can be done, even if the reasons felt very strange at the time. Okay. Evidence is important. So let's go back to
Are we finally going to get to some evidence now?
Tyler Robinson for a moment, and back to his confessions, because he confessed not just once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 different times to 4 separate entities of people. And I'm going to show you that in just a second. But first, I want to give a shout out to today's sponsor, Cozy Earth. You guys know that I am obsessed with my Cozy Earth products. You walk into my home and it is essentially plastered with everything Cozy Earth.
We're not going to listen to all that.
This confession to his parents eventually, after they recognized him and they confronted him about it. He said, you know, he insinuated to them that he was the shooter and that he was going to end.
All right. She just said that he confessed 4 times. Now she's saying he confessed to his parents, but now he insinuated to his parents that he did it.
His own life. They convinced him not to. And they convinced him to allow a family friend who was a former law enforcement officer to accompany Tyler Robinson and his parents to the Washington County Sheriff's Office, where Tyler Robinson turned himself in. Turning yourself in is also a confession. So it's his parents he confessed to, and then to police.
Oh, really?
He also
turning yourself in is a confession. I wonder if is that like in law somewhere, or is that in some kind of police handbook? Because I don't think that's necessarily the case. I believe if you have a warrant out for your arrest, whether it is legitimate or not, whether you are guilty or not, you have the ability to turn yourself in to keep yourself from being picked up. That doesn't necessarily mean you are admitting guilt.
Tyler Robinson also confessed to his transgender roommate. Now, we've covered Tyler Robinson's transgender roommate extensively on this show. The young man's name was Lance Twiggs. He is a biological male, and I know that's redundant because to be male is to be a biological male. But Lance Twiggs identifies, or has identified at some points in the past, as being transgender. He was on hormone replacement therapy. He went by a female name. I believe that female name was Luna at one point. And as reported by friends of Lance Twiggs and Tyler Robinson, who often came to socialize to their apartment, Lance Twiggs displayed.
Yeah, Brett, there's been so many different variations of that story, but yeah, supposedly that family friend was a former cop.
Behaviors that,
again, though, they said that Tyler was suicidal, but at the same time, this family friend, former cop, convinced him to go in, because if he didn't go in, turn himself in, that they would come pick him up. And then by doing that, I mean, they're going to take SWAT because he's considered armed and dangerous, and then he could get shot and killed in the process for no reason. So he went in to keep himself from being shot. So which is it? Was he suicidal or was he not wanting to get shot, and that's why he turned himself in?
That evidence significant mental unbalance.
Yeah, knows it. Google. Yes, absolutely. She probably hasn't, and actually, she probably has, and she's just probably not saying so. You can confess to something and then go in there and plead not guilty, and I've so many times people plead guilty and then retract that plea. Like, this is absolutely meaningless what she's saying.
But Lance Twiggs and Tyler Robinson were engaged in a sexual relationship. Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs were in a relationship. They were boyfriends, if that's how you want to describe it. And in the aftermath of Tyler Robinson's crime, he communicated to Lance Twiggs that he, in fact, was the one who had killed Charlie Kirk. These are, of course, the infamous strange text messages, which are strange, and there's an explanation why they're strange. The explanation isn't necessarily that they were forged by law enforcement to frame Tyler Robinson, but they are, of course, incredibly bizarre in how they read. And you can see that. You can see that on the screen. We've read through these text messages before, but in these text messages, Tyler Robinson directs Lance Twiggs to look under Robinson's keyboard of his computer in their shared apartment.
Yes, Brett, it is.
And under that keyboard was an admission that
maybe she has been in there.
Tyler Robinson was the one who killed Charlie Kirk. It's quite chilling to read. It is very
it's chilling to read. Ooh.
Strange how these two young men talk to each other, but
she is so stupid. I hate to say that. She is.
Idea or the question. Yeah, if you have that, post that in so we can read a couple of these text messages, because I want to show an example of when I say that these text messages are strange. I want to give an example of how they're strange, because the narrative surrounding the strangeness of these text messages is that the FBI invented, just manufactured, that the FBI is lying about these text messages, that they're not real. But have we considered that these text messages are strange because they were sent back and forth between two very strange people? If you are transgender, you are strange. If you are dating a transgender, engaging in sexual activity with a transgender, then you are also strange. These are people who are chronically online gamers, who are heavily into the furry community. If you're not initiated into this, consider yourself one of the lucky ones.
So she talks about all this and how it's perfectly normal for them to talk like this because they're weirdos and all this. At the end of the day, she never addresses the main issue I have with this back and forth. And my main issue with the back and forth is the fact that he says at the beginning, I planned on taking this to my grave, and then literally admits to every single thing along the way, including engraving the bullets and all that. And not only did he do that, but step by step, he exonerates Lance. I mean, very, very thoroughly. He very, very thoroughly, he walks through his guilt step by step and Lance's exoneration. So I don't think I could be convinced that this is a legit conversation. This to me seems like, whether it was, and I guess it could have been done by Tyler, but whether it's done by Tyler or done by law enforcement or done by AI, this letter, I don't know how I could be convinced otherwise that it was just, at the end of the day, intended to exonerate Lance for whatever reason.
The furry community is a pornographic community, and I hate to use the word community because it has a positive connotation. The furry community.
Yes, she does. Nosy, you're watching it.
Consists of grown adults who dress up like animals in order to engage in sex play as animals, and there's often a pedophilia aspect to this.
Go look under the keyboard.
As when these grown adults dress as animals, sometimes they dress as what they call cubs for this, to fulfill their their sick and demented sexual fetish. Both Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs were actively involved in furry fetish play, in addition to Lance Twiggs identifying as transgender and Tyler Robinson having sex with him. These are two very damaged,
TMI.
demented people. These are not normal people. So the expectation that they would text in a way that you and I would categorize as normal would be a bit incongruent. So here are some of the text messages. After reading the note, and this is according to the law enforcement affidavit, the roommate, Lance Twiggs, responded, "What? You're joking, right?" Robinson then said, "I am still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home. But I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you." Roommate, Lance Twiggs, said, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" Robinson said, "I am. I'm sorry." Now, the conversation goes on, and this is the particular text message that people identify as
Hard to pay attention with y'all in that chat.
being strange. When Robinson said, "I'm wishing I'd circled back and grabbed it," the rifle, "as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried that my old man would do it, or what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle."
I mean, seems to me the more likely sentiment would be, I'm worried what my dad will do if he finds out I killed a man, not I'm worried if I don't bring home my granddaddy's rifle. But I could be wrong.
Now, those who are questioning the veracity of these text messages say, who uses the word vehicle and who refers to their father as old man? Well, again, I would pose the question, these are not normal people. Do we expect them to write in a normal manner? There's no indication. We have no evidence that these are fabricated in any way. Again, Tyler Robinson did not deny that they were real, and neither did Lance Twiggs. And if they were set up and framed, if this was false accusations and not real, you would think that those representing Robinson and Twiggs would not wait for the trial to deny this. They would want this expunged from the evidence entirely. And yet we have not heard any of that.
And yet it seems like his defense team is not interested in defending him at all. So then there's that.
Those are the first three confessions from Tyler Robinson, but there's a fourth. Tyler Robinson was heavily involved in Discord, in the group chats on Discord, especially in the gaming group chats on Discord. And in one of his group chats that involved, I believe, at least a dozen other people, he makes the following confession. This is his username here, ZealousMonkey5. That's Tyler Robinson. He wrote on September 11th, late in the evening, almost 10 p.m. He said, "Hey,
Yeah, Miss Susan, that thing's been run through several AIs, like ChatGPT and Grok and a few others. I don't know that I ever personally did it. I did see some results, and I know there was some mixed results, but there were several that leaned on the not a legit conversation. I'll run that through myself one time, and I may run it through a couple different ones and see what kind of results I get, and then I'll bring them back to y'all so we can see that. That'd be interesting to do. Yeah, because it doesn't seem very legit to me. It's just me.
guys, I have bad news for you all. It was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all of this. I'm surrendering through a sheriff friend in a few moments. Thanks for all the good times and laughs. You've all been amazing. Thank you for everything." This was
Just plug your ears till I hit pause, Miss Rainen.
his admission to his closest group of friends who were online friends in his Discord chat. This is, of course, in addition to security footage that we have, and we don't have all the security footage of everything that we need and want to see, but we do have security footage of Tyler Robinson running off the roof.
So convenient that we have security footage of somebody running off the roof. She seems awful confident that it's Tyler Robinson running off the roof. But my question has been from day one, why does it start there? Why doesn't it start out with him taking a shot? And you know what? If you want to use the argument, well, just to be respectful and all, okay, don't show him taking a shot. Why did we not get a video with him laying prone with a rifle in his hand right after he took the shot and watch him get up and run? I would guess because he wasn't laying there with a gun in his hand. That's my guess.
With the rifle that he used.
And they could have easily done it. They have there's no kind of policy or reason not to. That Mangione dude in New York that killed that healthcare insurance CEO, shot him in the back. Guess what? All over the internet. I mean, within just a few hours, they put that video out, showed him shooting that dude in the back, him falling, slumping over. And we're like, we need help finding this guy. So there's absolutely no reason they could not have showed that, except I would say if they had sent a bigger, if they'd have sent a more complete section of that video or put it out, I figure it probably showed something that they didn't like.
To kill Charlie Kirk. And we can show this video on the screen because I suspect many people have not seen. You can watch him up there on the top. Go back to the beginning of that video for a second so I can point out where he is. So in the left-hand side.
Miss Susan, I think I seen that. I can't remember either. I can't remember either, but I'm pretty sure I seen whatever you're talking about. Yeah, they had a good laugh over it.
Of the screen, the upper left-hand side, you'll see Tyler Robinson run behind that block. Now,
hey, we're getting there. We're getting there, Nosy. We've done 2 out of the 4 or 5 episodes that Barron did on the Google Trends. This popped up today and I watched it and I had me a good laugh and thought I better do this tonight. But then tomorrow night we'll be back on the Google Trends. So we'll be covering that stuff again after this. I mean, unless something groundbreaking pops up tomorrow.
He's running towards, he's running behind that elevated part of the building. You kind of see his shadow through the windows, the glass windows in that elevated portion of the building. Then you see him emerge again and run towards the corner of this building. Exactly. You can see him there at the corner of the building. It was then that he jumped down, discarded.
Yeah, Miss Susan, that's exactly how I found Barron. I was watching Ian and he started talking. He mentioned the trends and said, Barron Coleman is the one that figured this out, and go check him out on YouTube. Searched him out, found him, listened to a few minutes, hit subscribe, and the rest is history. Been there ever since. Ain't missed a minute.
His rifle. You can watch him do this. It's a little bit of a pixelated, grainy video, but there's simply no doubt that this is a person making a getaway from a crime scene. He jumps down.
Really? There's no doubt. It is a person getting away, is it not?
And he makes his escape. He grabs his stuff and he makes his escape.
I never saw the rifle, just for the record.
He, as I mentioned before, he discarded the rifle. It was something he mentioned in his text messages with his boyfriend, that he wished that he had not stashed the rifle. He wished that he had taken it with him.
When did he discard that rifle? I mean, when he's running across there, I'm sorry. I see a towel or a shirt or something, but I'm sorry, I don't see a rifle. So did he discard it there? And if so, how did it get to the chicken coop?
Although his reasoning seemed quite twisted to me. His reasoning was he was worried what his father would say about how he treated his grandfather's rifle, not worried about being caught in the crime. Additional evidence of complete mental instability. And by the way, it's not just the means that Tyler Robinson had to kill Charlie Kirk. It was also the motivation. Tyler Robinson had accused Charlie Kirk directly of spreading hate. Now, you and I know that when a leftist accuses someone of spreading hate, they're simply talking about what we consider to be normal positions, that mass immigration is harmful to our country, or that the transgender ideology is destructive, and that objective reality exists whether you acknowledge it or not. A man is a man and not a woman, regardless of whether he identifies as one. But Tyler Robinson's mother also told the media that also told law enforcement that her son was increasingly political, that he was increasingly pro-trans since he had started his sexual entanglement with that transgender roommate. That's on page 7 of the affidavit. His mother explained that over the course of the past year, quote, Robinson had become more political and had started to lean more towards the left, becoming pro-gay and trans rights
Now she sounds like a damn chipmunk.
oriented. He, of course, came from what seems to be a more right-wing family, which begot the question initially of what Robinson's political views were. If his parents were Trump supporters, was he? Well, his mother said no. His mother said that Tyler began to date his roommate, the biological male who was transitioning, and this actually resulted in conflicts between he and his father, who have very different political views. Specifically regarding Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson brought up Charlie himself and mentioned that Charlie Kirk was going to be holding the event at Utah Valley.
No, and that's a pretty good point. So there are only 2 options for that rifle. There's 2 options. A, when they turn the dogs loose, because they did, they searched the place with dogs. When they turned those dogs loose, either A, that rifle was not there and it came and showed up with the FBI after the dogs had searched it, or the rifle was there the whole time and it just got missed. The only way they could have missed the rifle is if it had not been fired in a very long time. So either way, that puts that rifle not getting shot that day.
University, which Robinson said was a, quote, stupid venue for the event. And then Robinson accused Kirk of spreading hate. So lest you worry that there is not both the means and the motivation, there's evidence that exists to substantiate both. Now, this doesn't mean we have a complete package of all the evidence. We don't. There's evidence that still needs to be revealed. There's ballistics. I mean, the ballistics on the actual round that killed Charlie doesn't match the rifle that the Tyler Robinson rifle, the one from his grandfather that he used. You can easily match ballistics exactly between a round and a rifle that fire, any kind of firearm that fires it. Law enforcement, of course, has this information. We, the public, have not been.
I don't think we're ever going to see any ballistics one way or the other. They're going to say they're inconclusive or something, but we've got DNA.
Read in on this as of yet, but a match of that nature would put a lot of questions to rest. There's also, I assume, video of Tyler Robinson taking the shot, firing his rifle, and killing Charlie Kirk. If there's video of Tyler Robinson running on that roof, there should also be video of Tyler Robinson firing his shot. We, the public, have not.
No shit. Yes, there should be.
Been read into that. It has not been released officially. It has not been leaked unofficially. But I assume, I suspect, I hope video of Tyler Robinson shooting that rifle actually exists. And
you know what assumptions are, right?
if it does, that's what I would call extremely irrefutable evidence. There's also evidence yet to be revealed.
Yeah. The evidence that she hasn't seen and doesn't know 100% exists would be extremely irrefutable evidence.
Regarding the planning of this crime, the search history on Tyler Robinson's devices, on his phone, on his laptop, his phone calls, his text messages, his communication with others. Was there anybody else who was in the know about this? What it took to plan this? Did he do dry runs? Did he buy specific items that would assist him in committing this crime? There's a lot of evidence still yet to be revealed, but here's the critical point. It doesn't mean that this evidence doesn't exist. It simply means it has yet to be revealed because, remember, we are actually quite early in the process in our criminal justice system. We haven't even gotten to a plea from Tyler Robinson yet. He hasn't pled guilty or not guilty. We are still in the lead up. I believe May is the probable cause hearing. We are still watching unfold in our court system arguments over whether there should be cameras in the courtroom or whether this prosecutor should be allowed to prosecute the case or which evidence is admissible. We are very early in a frustratingly slow process for those of us who seek justice for Charlie Kirk. But the evidence, there's circumstantial evidence too. What we've discussed so far is what I would call hard evidence, but there's circumstantial evidence from people who worked with Tyler Robinson as well. And I want to show you that in just a second. But first I want to shout out All Family Pharmacy. Listen, who should decide what medications that you have access to? Should it be you and your doctor, or should it be Big Pharma and Dr. Fauci? Well, I think you know the answer to that question. But here's the problem. The healthcare industry in our country is often influenced by these terrible politicians and by these big pharma companies. That is why you need a place like All Family Pharmacy. They are licensed U.S. pharmacy focused on giving patients access, not politics. They don't force you into an outdated system or make you deal with insurance.
I don't get to run any ads. I'm not listening to you run any ads. Plus, we got to get done.
Evidence is still significant. It's not the only thing required for a conviction, but it is significant. Now, circumstantial evidence exists in this case in the form of testimony, not court.
Is that so? Circumstantial evidence is really something important. I could point out a lot of circumstantial evidence, and y'all always say, "But it's just circumstantial evidence. It doesn't prove anything." God,
testimony, not testimony under oath, but testimony, public testimony from people who knew Tyler Robinson. For example, one of his coworkers recognized the way that Tyler Robinson walked around. So in those photos of Tyler Robinson that were released by local law enforcement in the moments after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, the ones that were like, hey, if you recognize this guy, you can see it on the screen. If you recognize this guy, like, call law enforcement, help us find him. One of his coworkers recognized him by saying this, quote, Tyler walked around.
Now, look, if somebody that actually accidentally believes her side of it, kind of just accidentally ends up in the chat, are y'all gonna be nice? Are y'all gonna play nice?
With clenched fists all the time, like super hard clenched fists. I remember making a joke to him one time when he had his fists like that. I was like, are you angry, Tyler? And he was like, that's just what I do. His coworker said he was always soft-spoken, but his fists were always like that. You can see what this coworker means when you look at that photo. His fists were clenched. His fists were clenched. Even in the security footage from UV.
Okay, his fists were clenched. I can see where she's going with this, but you know what? If I didn't say you had to. I was just asking if you could or would. Uh, but look, they're talking about him walking with his fish. Oh God, fist clenched. You know, really, how much does that mean? I mean, damn. If they knew anything about the guy at all, and they sent somebody, and somebody else was walking in there acting like they were Tyler, it'd be easy to say, "Hey, Tyler always walks with his fist." I can't even hardly say it. How do words work? Tyler always clenches his fist when he walks, so make sure you clench your fist. Okay, like that really doesn't mean shit.
You, not just this photograph, you can see that he's got his fist clenched tight. Now,
well, thank y'all. Thank y'all. We'll see if y'all can actually handle that or not. You know, I mean, y'all may not have to worry about it, but we'll see if y'all are actually nice.
Additionally, another co-worker of Tyler Robinson who had worked with him at one point.
Yeah, I just don't think it's Tyler either. To me, it just doesn't look like Tyler. That dude right there to me is a lot skinnier looking than Tyler. Tyler was skinny too. But that guy there, whoever that is, looks almost anorexic.
Spoke out publicly and said that Tyler Robinson had bragged to him once about having a good shot. He had bragged to him about being skilled with a rifle.
Exactly. Yep. The shoulders too. Yep. I just don't think it's him. The build overall, I mean,
at these shots. Again, these are circumstantial evidence, pieces of circumstantial evidence. These are not evidence that is sufficient for conviction, but it is significant to see that, again, people who knew him, not just his family, not just his boyfriend, that these people are not denying that he could ever do this or that he did it. They are actually providing additional evidence, or at least narrative color that that substantiates the reality that the evidence is leading us towards. Now, here's the thing. There is a conspiracy. There is a conspiracy aspect to this that's very real.
Ooh,
it deserves our scrutiny. It deserves our questions. It deserves investigation from law enforcement. I personally find it particularly infuriating and outrageous that 6 months after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, we have no answers from the FBI, from the Department of Justice, from even local law enforcement about the posts online from radical trans individuals.
Yeah, that's right, Brett.
Who seemed to signal that they had foreknowledge of Charlie's murder before it happened. There were approximately half a dozen posts from individuals in the days and weeks, even a month before Charlie Kirk's assassination, that are weird if the person didn't have any idea that this crime was going to be committed. They seem to indicate, these posts seem to indicate that these people had some sort of knowledge of some sort of plan. And 6 months later, the fact that we have no answers.
Okay, I'm just going to say, and here we go. Maybe I'm sounding all tinfoil hat. Just think for just a moment. If you were, say, a nation state, you know, maybe a nation state that's about the size of New Jersey, sometimes referred to as Philadelphia, and you were doing a state level hit on an American citizen in broad daylight in front of lots of people, and you didn't want people to think it was your nation state that was responsible. If you know, had some people get on there and act like they were random crazy leftists and said a bunch of stuff about him he's gonna get killed, you know, and all these things. I mean, that'd probably lead one to believe that maybe it was a crazy leftist that did it, right? Kind of point away from the nation state, the size of New Jersey, sometimes referred to as Philly. I don't know, just a thought. I don't put as much stock in that as what she is.
About who these people are. Did they have foreknowledge? Were they members of any of the radical trans groups that operated in that area of Utah? There are many groups in that area of Utah that are worth scrutinizing. The John Brown Gun Club.
Hey, we got another one in the chat. How you doing? Good to see you in there.
Armed queers who oddly scrubbed their entire social media presence in the hours after Charlie Kirk's assassination. Why would they do that if they had nothing whatsoever to do with a crime and no knowledge of it? That seems like maybe they didn't. I don't know. But why would they scrub their social media history? The Socialist Rifle Association is another group.
Maybe to make themselves look guilty and to take some of the heat off of the nation state about the size of New Jersey, sometimes referred to as Philadelphia.
Now listen, I'm not sitting here directly accusing any of these groups of having foreknowledge of Charlie's assassination or being outright complicit in his murder. I have no idea.
Yes, That is very true. And sometimes I feel like it's more than that. But luckily, I think, you know what? Maybe I'm being mind controlled too, but maybe it's just by the opposite team. Could be, but I feel like that I'm just one of those that's way too damn hard headed for that.
Yeah. But I would investigate them if I were law enforcement, if I were local law enforcement, if I were federal law enforcement.
Yeah, Miss Susan, especially after you hear those dispatch calls. I mean, those dispatch calls, the descriptions that they gave described Lance to a T, not Tyler at all.
I would investigate these groups and the individuals that posted these strange posts that seemed to signal foreknowledge. Did anyone else know?
But was it, Brett? I mean, really, at the end of the day, I mean, if you wanted to make it look like a bunch of goofy, crazy leftists that weren't professional hitmen, I mean, wouldn't you do it like this? I mean, and you know, the other thing about it is there is only so much you can do in this day and age with as many cameras as are pointed at. Everybody's got a 4K camera in their hand, you know, and I mean, just taking it at surface view, I mean, just, if it wasn't for all the experiences we've had in the past, most people probably would not have given this too much of a second look. They might have thought, it don't make sense, but I guess we'll just see how it turns out. But we've been fucked over so many times that people just, they don't trust, and that's a good thing. I don't either. But at the end of the day, if you didn't already expect to be lied to, just at a glance, just surface level, I mean, was it that sloppy? To me, it's gotten more sloppy the further that we've dug in. And that's 6 months of looking at every single piece of footage. Like, I mean, some of these people spend hours upon hours just looking at one tiny little short clip because they'll literally follow one person through the whole clip, every move they make, take notes, and do it to the next person, whether they're suspicious or not. Like, these people are going so deep. So I don't know. I don't know. And of course, you know, even a perfect plan can still, you know, go awry. I don't know.
That this was going to happen? Was anyone else involved? Did anyone else encourage it or joke about it? Tyler Robinson or Lance Twiggs or anyone else in their social sphere. If I were law enforcement, I would investigate these groups on the grounds that they're subversive.
Oh yeah, we're having a ball. Always to be.
Some of them portray them to be.
Make sure you sub so you can know when I'm live. Hit the little notification, and then you can be in the chat having a good time with all these good people in there, and we'll have us a ball.
Militant radicals who seek to overthrow our civilization. They pretend to arm themselves in defense of transgender quote unquote rights. But if you read between the lines, you read the writings of the people who are in these groups, they seek to overthrow our civilization on the basis of their commitment to the transgender ideology, not as a personal ideology necessarily, although they're all, you know, red, purple haired, weirdo looking people, but their commitment to transgender ideology as a political weapon of culture.
That's right. That's right. That's right, Brett. And that's just the way I'm looking at it. I could be wrong. Trust me, I could easily be wrong, but I thought the same. But then the more I look at it and think of it, you know, maybe it was meant to look a little sloppy, because then a lot of people would say, this is a nation state level, it's too sloppy. So, you know, I don't know.
Marxism that requires a vanguard.
And if John Bray's theory is correct, which that's the way I'm leaning on, if John Bray's theory is correct, it probably would have been a lot cleaner if, you know, there hadn't been that one unforeseen piece of shrapnel that busted off there and allowed the battery to come flying out and catch him in the throat. I don't believe that was ever the intention. I believe that it was intended to go right into his chest, and it would have been very hard to tell the difference between it and a gunshot to the chest. Nobody would have ever questioned whether it was a 30-06 to the chest if it had gone as planned, if that shape charge had gone directly into his chest like it was meant to
start the revolution. There is a conspiracy that exists here. There is.
Yeah, y'all, I think I got at least 2 videos where I straight up cover the microphone thing. So yeah, y'all have to go back and check those out if you haven't watched them. And in both of those videos, I do play a video clip, and it shows the exact type of setup that that John is theorizing was used. It's a just in case y'all haven't seen them. It's a little drone. The guy's standing on a stage. It's a little drone right there in his hand. I mean, it's about that big, about the same size as one of those microphones. And he takes and says it's got 2 grams of explosives in it. It's got AI. Anyway, he throws it up in the air, and it shows it flying towards this dummy, and it comes down and it lands on his forehead. And I mean, immediately, as soon as it hits his forehead, you hear a bang. Sounds like a firecracker or a 22 or something like that. It falls off, clean hole in the head, a little bit of smoke, looked just like he'd been shot with something. And yeah, it was just a little tiny drone with a tiny little shape charge in there. Went right to his skull. Yep. Yeah. Well, good, Miss Susan. Good. Yes, absolutely. And when I saw that, boy, I got really excited. And you'd be surprised how many people haven't seen that. I showed it to Greg for the first time. He was like, holy shit. Well, that proves it. Yes, exactly. So the recoil, I believe, the recoil, it would have some recoil, definitely, but I believe that the shirt somewhat limited that. I mean, with it being on the inside of his shirt like that, you can see the shirt plainly come up, but it goes out, so I feel like that's what happened with the recoil. As that shirt was coming out and up, I mean, that was it recoiling. And then, yes, we keep hearing about that, but I have not seen any hard evidence of that he had the chest. Like, there was people that were at the hospital that said his chest was caved in. I mean, there's been all kinds of unofficial reports of that. So I feel like one day we will find, yes, there was probably something like that. But I don't know for sure. So, okay. Yes, I will do that. I tell you what I'm going to do. I will go and I will add, I'll just do a post like I did earlier today, when I reposted that thumbnail. I'm just going to put it up there on my page, on my YouTube page or on my YouTube channel. I'm just going to post it up there, and you can just go right to it and watch it. Okay. That might be the easiest thing. That way you don't have to come back to this video and go into the description to find it and all that. So yes, I will definitely do that as soon as we get done here.
Is a conspiracy. Now, at the same time, you have been told a separate narrative from the evidence that I just laid out for you. You've been told that there was an outnumbered an outsized number of people who were in attendance at Charlie's event that day that were wearing a maroon colored t-shirt, and that indicated maroon being the color of the
absolutely
French legionaries, that you were told that maroon t-shirt was evidence that the French government.
Nope. Get your nonsensical, keep your shit straight. That is not what it was supposed to have meant. I don't remember now, but it was it wasn't the Foreign Legion. It was one of the special forces. Maybe one of y'all in the chat remembers, but no, I do not do that on purpose, and I don't know why that keeps happening. On the posts, I did go back and turn the last few back on. I don't know why they automatically go off, but I don't know if there's any point in me going back on those old posts to turn them all on. But from here on, now that I know it's doing that, I'll make sure I turn them on too. The videos do that also, and I'll have to go back after and turn them on. So I just realized today that the posts do the same thing. So yeah. If ever you go and the comments are off, give it just a little bit, try it again. I'll probably have them turn back on. Like I said, now I know it, so I'll make sure I keep them on.
Was somehow involved in a conspiracy to kill Charlie Kirk. Well, you are, and then suddenly that narrative was dropped. Why? Because there was no evidence. A maroon shirt is not evidence of.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily dropped. It was brought to everybody's attention, and nobody ever made it as a statement of fact. Yes, we could state as fact that there were a lot of people out there with maroon shirts, one of which was standing in a bush, and another one was standing there talking to a bush. So, but regardless, yes, we could state as fact that there were several people there with maroon shirts. Nobody that I know of has stated as fact what that meant, but it was brought to everybody's attention. There was some theorizing about it, and then we moved on to the next thing. That doesn't mean it was dropped. That doesn't mean that there was nothing to it.
Anything really. I mean, how many sports teams have a color have their
Exactly, Miss Susan. You too.
Their mascot or their mascot colors include maroon. Maroon is one of the fall season color palettes that are in right now for fashion. So you go into it.
No, she doesn't. That's what pisses me off about this. Like, this is most of these people. Gary Melton's the worst about it, but there's a lot of them. Jay Witt, Graham Allen. All these people generally go straight to character assassination. They don't ever address the facts or they don't ever address the substance. They don't address any of that. They always just go straight to character assassination. Well, she decided she was going to be the one. She was going to step up. She was going to, address the real issues and bring the facts. But the problem is she's doing a terrible job of it because, well, y'all know. I don't have to tell y'all.
Store in maroon is one of
Obviously, she doesn't even watch the shit she's trying to disprove.
the colors that you will find. There's nothing strange about young men wearing maroon t-shirts. It's not evidence of anything except for that young men are wearing maroon t-shirts. They probably all shop at the same store if they go to Utah Valley University, and the store might sell similar shirts. This is not evidence of everything, and yet you've been told that the implication of a certain number of people wearing maroon shirts is that this is an international conspiracy.
Wow.
You were also told that,
we
it's not
weren't.
possible that Charlie Kirk was killed by a single shooter because there was no exit wound. We addressed that earlier in the show. You were told that the rifle wasn't really Tyler Robinson's rifle, that he wasn't the one that fired the shot. If the shot was fired from the rifle, because local law enforcement couldn't find the rifle. They couldn't find the rifle even with their canine dogs until the FBI came in and pointed it out under a bush.
And that's true.
Well, we don't have any evidence of that.
We don't. I'm pretty sure we've got some dispatch calls talking about how they couldn't find the damn gun. And then all of a sudden they were like, yeah, the FBI's here. And a few minutes later, they're like, hey, we found a gun.
Evidence is the key thing here. Evidence is what I use to guide me towards the truth. And the truth is what I seek, because if we are pursuing justice for our friend, the only thing
I know. That's why I'm doing this. It's like I told them earlier when we got started, y'all probably wouldn't believe any of this. Y'all know better, but at the same time, that hopefully somebody will see this that might put a little bit more weight in what she's saying. And so that's one reason why I'm doing it. And the other is, if nothing else, I figure we can make fun of her and get some good entertainment out of it. So,
that can obtain justice is the truth. And the truth is marked. It's like road signs. It's marked by road signs of evidence. So evidence.
Miss Susan, it's coming out one way or the other. Now, whether it'll come out and be recognized officially, we'll see. But that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I know that's why a lot of other people are doing what they're doing. Some people are doing a lot of like digging, actual investigating and doing original source reporting. And then other people, and I'm one of them. You got Coach Colin, you got a whole bunch of people that just, they take this information and distill it down and scream from the rooftops and just make sure people are hearing this message, making sure what comes out is out there, easily accessible and can be known. So, hopefully if nothing else, maybe, enough of the public is informed and is, convinced of the facts. Maybe we can get enough pressure on them that they have to officially admit it.
It leads us on the road of truth, and truth leads to justice. If there's evidence of anything nefarious, I'll be the first to speak up loudly about it. But the rifle contained DNA evidence that tied Tyler Robinson to that rifle, in addition to the cloth and the casings of the bullet. There is no evidence whatsoever.
Yes, Brett. Sorry, I almost missed that one. Yes, he did. Absolutely, he did. Yep. Hey, where's Lisset, by the way? She had commented on that. I just noticed she's not in here. Yes, he did finally respond to me today. So, and I'm tickled to death. So, yes, I'm going to get with him. I talked to Greg earlier, and we done got us a little game plan. So, he is going to help me put together some notes. Obviously, I got facts on my side, so that right there puts me, puts me in a good position. But I don't want my ADHD to, guide me off down some rabbit trail in the middle. So, anyway, me and him's going to work on putting me some notes together. And so, yeah, we're going to be well prepared that way. We can go in there and just have a nice discussion. And I don't know, might not convince him, but hopefully I can convince somebody in the audience.
No substantiation to the allegation that the rifle was planted by the FBI.
Yeah, do that, Miss Susan. Tell her we missed her in the chat. Tell her I was wondering, because I seen her comment earlier, and yeah, I just noticed she's not in the chat.
We were also told that a Turning Point USA employee grabbed video out of a camera immediately after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and the implication was that this was a cover-up, that it wasn't a single bullet fired by Tyler Robinson that killed.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I really appreciate that. Yeah, Greg said, make sure you let me know when you're going on so I can be there live. I told him, I said, yes, I will for sure do it. You know what, Brett, he may do that, but I've already thought about that, and so I'm gonna have Greg on standby just in case. If that happens, I'll just shoot him the link and let him pop in. So he can do that if he wants to, but more than one can play that game. He likes his $7,000. Yeah.
Charlie and Turning Point wanted to cover up the truth by grabbing that video. Well, the reality is the left is
here we go. Here's the SD
really
cards.
nasty. We saw that in the days and weeks. Still to this day, the left jokes about, they go to their protests, painted bloody paintings on their neck, trying to dressing up like Charlie Kirk to mock him, to mock his death, to celebrate his assassination. The left is so nasty. And this Turning Point USA employee worked with the tech at Turning Point USA, and he knew that there was high quality footage of the assassination that had been recorded because the camera was pointed at Charlie Kirk, and he didn't want that footage to be exploited by the left. It was bad enough that we had the footage that we saw. It was bad enough that every single.
Okay, the first thing I'm thinking of right off the top of my head. Okay, talking about the whole bloody thing, and he knew that there was going to be footage that showed all that, and he didn't want it to be exploited by the left. I'm sorry, but the one screenshot I saw from that footage shows 0 blood, 0 gore, 0 damage. So that dog don't hunt. That's just a dumbass excuse. And you can't say, well, he thought like he was standing back there behind. He had to have known it didn't blow the back of his neck out. And he had to have known that, the back of his shirt wasn't bloody, or, he did not take that card out because he thought there was something graphic on there that people were going to exploit.
One of us watched Charlie Kirk die. The Turning Point USA employee was trying to protect his friend and his boss. We were also told that Erica Kirk is complicit, whether it's in the planning of this assassination or the cover-up. That narrative changes by the day, but the first piece of evidence was that we were told to substantiate this allegation that Erica Kirk was involved was that she was followed by Egyptian planes. Now, the implication here is complex. The Egyptian Air Force is often used, allegedly.
All right, I'm going to start moving it ahead. This thing's getting really long, but there are a couple more points I want to make sure we get. Now, this thing about the Egyptian planes, it's very convoluted, I guess you could say. So, it's pretty, it gets pretty technical when you start talking about all the flight trackers and all this stuff and what metrics she used. I don't know. I have not done it yet, but I'm pretty sure on her website she has like a chart that shows exactly what metrics they put in and what all the stipulations for, I don't know. But the point is, they claim that a bunch of them were not legit. And so it was only a few. I don't know. That may be the case. But at the end of the day, even a few, in my opinion, is odd. And I'm not up enough on that whole flight tracker, stuff to really say definitively. So I don't know. It is very confusing. But as far as I know, she was being followed by Egyptian planes. How many? Who knows? Maybe not.
By the Israeli government.
Maybe not as many as originally thought, but nobody's come out and said that there were no planes following her.
To
one other last point. What I think just tickles the shit out of me is they keep making the point about the Egyptian planes. You know, she said there was 70 something times, but like, I don't know, 50 or 60 weren't legit. So that leaves only a few. And they attacked that whole angle. Well, you know, initially when Barron and Candace and all were talking about it, that's what they were talking about, was the fact that they were following her around. Well, then they had the CBS town hall where Erica Kirk is, you know, sitting down with what's her face. Anyway, I can't think of her name right now, so that just shows you how much I think of her. But anyway, so she says something about the Whataburger and the milkshake, and she's like, why would I be on some Egyptian plane when all I wanted? Nobody had said anything about her being on a plane. But, you know, she said that, and I thought that was kind of funny because nobody had really said anything about her being on a plane. It was the fact that the planes were following her. But, you know, I guess it may be a coincidence. Here a few weeks ago, guess what? Barron has a show and says that in his honest opinion, no, it's not fact, but in his honest opinion, he thinks there's a really good chance that Erica Kirk was sitting in an Egyptian plane on the runway whenever the incident happened on September the 10th. So it's kind of like she told on her. It's kind of like she told on herself. Nobody was addressing. Nobody thought that she was on an Egyptian plane. They were just talking about the fact that they were what appeared to be following her around. But then, then all of a sudden, Barron digs up this stuff, you know, and says at the end of the day that he thinks she was sitting on an Egyptian plane on the runway in Utah. So it's funny how that stuff comes back around.
For covert operations. So when you hear this narrative that Egyptian planes were involved, it's not necessarily an implication that Egypt was involved so much as an accusation or an insinuation that Israel was somehow involved. And we were
exactly. That's what it's. That's what the implications would be. It's saying like Barry Weiss. Yes, good Lord.
Told that Erica Kirk's travel in the 2 years prior to the assassination was oddly connected to the travel, the flight.
Yeah, it was Barry Weiss I was trying to think of. I don't really watch her much, and I try not to think about her too much, so that was the problem there. Plus, it's getting late.
Pads of 2 Egyptian Air Force planes. And I'm not going to lie to you, this seems really strange and really weird. Why on earth would these Egyptian planes, maybe flown by Israeli intel, be following Erica Kirk unless they were what? Surveilling Erica and Charlie? Maybe they were involved. Well, the problem with this narrative is it's not true. The problem with this narrative is if you...
Yeah, we're going to get out of the airplanes.
Of Utah Valley University. That's not an anomaly for an Egyptian plane to show up there. In addition to the fact that the way that these spreadsheets defined overlap, Erica Kirk's travel overlap with these Egyptian planes.
She just said it wouldn't be an anomaly for an Egyptian plane to be there. Would it be an anomaly for an Egyptian plane to be sitting on the runway in Utah with Erica Kirk's ass parked in the seat at the same time Charlie Kirk is losing his life on a stage in front of God and everybody? I wonder if that would be an anomaly.
Was plus minus 3 days. So Erica Kirk could have arrived somewhere on Monday, left on Tuesday. An Egyptian plane could have gotten to the vicinity on Wednesday, and they still counted that as overlapping, even though Erica Kirk could have been long gone. That is obviously too wide of a window. Obviously too wide of a window to count as overlap. That is a ridiculous standard. In addition to the fact that the definition of overlap when it comes to geographical distance was sometimes 50 or 100 days.
Absolutely. I believe it will too. 110%. I believe we're getting close. And I believe the truth will come out, whether or not the public can get enough pressure on the the government, be it the state government, federal government, whether or not we can get enough pressure on them remains to be seen. and I hope that we can. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, and a lot of people are doing what they're doing. But hopefully we can. I know we can if enough people will get involved and make their voices be heard, even if it's just talking to your congressman or whatever. Like, we want answers. So, hey, yes, Mr. Ryan, absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. I had a ball. Good night. And we just got a few more minutes, so we'll be right behind you. I really, really appreciate you being here, and we'll see you tomorrow night, okay?
So that could be a different state. Erica Kirk could have flown to Kentucky on Monday, left Kentucky on Tuesday, and an Egyptian plane could have flown to Indiana on Wednesday, and the spreadsheet would have counted that as an overlap. That is the most absurd allegation that I have ever heard.
Okay, shut up.
Who was a longtime friend of Charlie Kirk, who I believe had previously dated Erica Kirk long before.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's hear this real quick.
On Monday, left Kentucky on Tuesday, and an Egyptian plane could have flown to Indiana. Also told, the Fort Huachuca was this planning nexus for the assassination of Charlie Kirk, that military officials from the U.S. military, in addition to people in Charlie Kirk's orbit, like Erica Kirk and Cabot Phillips of the Daily Wire, who was a longtime friend of Charlie Kirk, who I believe had previously dated Erica Kirk long before she married Charlie Kirk, that these people had been spotted at Fort Huachuca, and this was evidence that there was a conspiracy to kill Charlie Kirk that involved the U.S. military.
Hey, remember to like the video if you ain't yet. Thank you, Ms. Rainin. Hey, I love this. I had a hell of a time.
And yet, when this allegation against Charlie Kirk, or against Cabot Phillips, I should say, was made, it was rebutted with hard evidence. So the allegation was made without evidence, just some nutty guy named Mitch Snow who said that he thinks that he saw Cabot Phillips. And then Cabot Phillips said, okay, here's metadata evidence that I was not anywhere near Fort Huachuca on the days that I was alleged to have been. And he provides video footage of him.
Okay, about that about that picture, that metadata evidence. For one, I'm with Baron Coleman. What kind of a man poses with the balloons like that and says, here, take a picture? Because not only was it not a picture with his wife's phone, it was a picture from his phone. So he had to say, hey, take my phone and take a picture of me. Now, all that being said, you can go in there and change that, the metadata. But I don't know if y'all seen that episode with Baron, but he literally sent his daughter to that store, to that very shopping aisle, to go in there and check the candy prices and stuff. Also, one of the magazines, the tabloids on the rack behind him had an old or had the wrong date on it. So anyway, Baron pretty well proved that picture was not taken back in September, that it was literally taken around the time that the Fort Huachuca thing came up.
Entering his workplace on the 9th of September, and he provides photographs of a gender reveal. His sweet wife is pregnant, and they are showing their son, their older son, that he is to soon have a younger brother. From September 8th, and he shows metadata on his iPhone that proves that photograph actually was taken in Nashville on September 8th at 5:22 p.m., exactly when he claimed it was. So the allegation was made without evidence, and then the refutation, the denial, was made with evidence. So if we're letting the evidence lead us towards the truth, and the evidence is that this competing narrative that we're told that Charlie Kirk was victim of an international conspiracy because, Erica's parents' marriage and divorce certificates have some dates that had been crossed out by a clerk, and that her haircut when she was a child looked weird, and her LinkedIn did not accurately reflect her educational experience, and her sequin jumpsuit at AmFest in December seemed weird for a grieving widow. All these things are not evidence of anything. They are not evidence of a conspiracy.
Well, a few of those things she just rambled off are evidence that she is a liar. And she does, and the bad part is she doesn't just lie about important things that would get her in trouble, or important big things that would be an embarrassment, or she lies about everything, the most simple, mundane shit that nobody cares about. But when you are proven to lie about those little, simple, mundane things that nobody gives two shits about, guess what? They know for a fact they can't believe you when it comes to some of the bigger, more important things.
They are not evidence of complicity. They are not evidence of guilt. They are essentially nothing. They're personal critiques of a woman that you don't have to like. You don't have to agree with her. You don't have to think that you would behave like her if it were your husband.
If you're talking, are you talking about Erica? About the DOJ? Because it's the Department of Defense. It's the DOD or the DOW now, the Department of War. If that's who you're talking about. If that's what you're referring to, it's actually the Department of Defense, and she was added to what's it called, the Visitors Board or something. It's not like she actually has. She doesn't actually work for the Department of Defense, but it's like some kind of an advisory board when it comes to some of the training and stuff. I don't know. She, along with other people on that board, I guess, oversees some of the curriculum and this, that, and the other, the morale of the students. I don't know. And they're supposed to have some kind of, yes, it's the Air Force Board of Visitors, I believe is what it's board of, something like that. Anyway. No, this bubble brain went back.
Husband who was assassinated, but they are not evidence.
Oh,
and
God.
I am tied to evidence. I will follow the evidence where it leads me without a preconceived or
Brett, I like Danks.
biased preference for the outcome. I will follow the evidence where it leads me. And we've been
I'd like to get hooked up with Danks one of these days. I'm not sure really how to get in touch with him, but yeah, I'd like to get in contact with him, maybe do something with him one day.
fed, instead of the evidence, we've been fed a constant conveyor belt of these juicy conspiracy theories. And the reason that their theories can be so compelling is because they actually start with a kernel of truth. Take the 30-06 round, for example. They start with the reality that oftentimes a 30-06 round results in the explosion of the object that it hits.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't when it hit Charlie Kirk. So
That's because it didn't hit Charlie Kirk.
starts with a kernel of truth, an anomaly. But then the extrapolation.
Hey, yeah, do that, Brett. I really appreciate that. Yes, I'd love to talk to him sometime. And like I said, if he'd be interested in doing it, I'd love to do something with him. Love to pick that brain of his, and I love what he's doing.
From that anomaly ends up somewhere totally unsubstantiated without evidence.
Yeah, I thought about that. I need to run that by him too.
Extrapolation from, that's a little odd that a 30-06 round, depending on what type of round, didn't create an exit wound. That's extrapolated into, well, it must not have been fired from Tyler Robinson's rifle. Tyler Robinson must not be guilty. There must be an international conspiracy involving foreign nations and the U.S. military and possibly Erica Kirk. What starts with a kernel of truth, something that's totally fine to question or just learn the
She lost me.
context of in order to better understand the reality or the chance of a 30-06 round not creating an exit wound, suddenly turns into something that's totally unsubstantiated and without evidence. So what does the evidence tell us? The evidence that we have amassed over the past 6 months.
That's the problem. No evidence that we have amassed in the past 6 months. All of this quote unquote evidence that she's talking about, that kind of contradicts itself throughout the document and all that. That evidence, that was all collected within the first month, whenever that came out. I can't remember now. There's not been a single damn thing officially, evidence-wise, that has come out since those charging documents came out. So, no. I don't want to hear the shit about the evidence that's been amassed over the past 6 months, because for the past 4 or 5 months, ain't a damn thing come out officially. Whoa. How did I do that? Look at there. Y'all know that voice? Y'all recognize that voice? How the hell did I do that?
Mountain of evidence that we've amassed in the past 6 months shows us actually one of the most cut and dry murder cases that we've ever seen. Every piece of evidence. And this is evidence of the strongest kind. We're not talking about circumstantial evidence here. We're not talking about evidence that's being denied or contested. We're talking about video footage. We're talking about confessions, multiple confessions. We're talking about both the motivations. We're talking DNA evidence. All implicate Tyler Robinson and show us that Tyler Robinson used his grandfather's rifle to fire a 30-06 round, type yet to be determined, into the neck of Charlie Kirk, killing him. The anomalies that always exist in life, and that certainly existed that day, like the lack of an exit wound, are easily explainable, not by conspiracies, but by.
So I've found, especially when talking about the no exit wound, they're easily explainable by dimwits like her that don't know shit about anything and can just say it without, she doesn't feel all that dumb saying it because she has absolutely no idea what she's talking about. I can't with a straight face tell somebody, yeah, a 30-06 could stop in a 5-inch neck. Just, I'm sorry. I mean, how many people, Valhalla's one of them. Talked about how he has shot elk with his 30-06 and went through both sides. I mean, through the shoulders, bone, chest, and all. So, yeah, people like her are the only ones so far that I've seen that have been able to make the case for that. And it's just because they don't know. They don't know.
By understanding the larger context of each anomaly and letting the evidence lead us to the truth.
All right, Brad, I promise no Ben. Maybe some short clips of him here and there, but we'll keep an eye on the growth of his eyebrows.
I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels that it has been a long 6 months. Our country has been changed forever. Charlie's family will never be the same. And nobody can replace Charlie Kirk. His assassination is not something that we recover from. His death is something that we simply learn to live with. But the truth matters.
Yeah,
because if we are pursuing justice, which we are, then
maybe she should pass that on to Erica Kurt, that the truth matters.
we can only let the truth be our guide. And to be loyal to the truth means
that means you're going to have to you ain't going to be able to let Erica Kirk lead you or guide you anywhere.
Hard evidence be our guide towards it. Please share this episode in your family group chat, in your political group chat, on your social media. Tag me with your agreement and with your disagreement. Make sure you subscribe.
I probably won't, and I don't know if she's got enough room in her chat for me to put in my disagreement, so that would just be kind of pointless. Oh God, I am so glad y'all were able to stand that and suffer through that with me. But I thought it was important, like I said. Y'all maybe y'all didn't gain as much from that as some other poor soul that doesn't know any better. Hopefully somebody in the future will see it though, and maybe that'll help them a lot. I promise, Miss Susan, I won't share this bitch's nonsense. Oh, hey, I have to say the chat has been on fire tonight. Y'all are something else. I've had a ball just watching the chat. So that's some good stuff. All right, guys, it is really late. I had no idea that I was going to end up going this long. I didn't think that, yes, it is. That's exactly right, Miss Susan. I did not realize that this would go this long, so I'm sorry for keeping y'all so late, but I appreciate y'all hanging with me, sticking with me. Promise tomorrow night we're going to be back on Baron Coleman, and unless it's just an emergency, but we'll be back on Baron Coleman, and we won't go 2.5 hours. So we'll have a little better night tomorrow night. Yes. Hey, absolutely. You are so welcome, Miss Susan, Brett. Yes. Yes. And thank y'all for being here. I'm glad to see y'all in there. So anyway, yes, like it, share it, subscribe if you ain't, and, I'll see y'all tomorrow night, and, I appreciate it. Thank y'all.